this is Jim Reynolds, and you are on the Ultimate Mission Christian Life Empowerment Podcast. Today, we have Dr. Pritham Raj on the program. Thank you, Doctor, for joining me today.
It's my pleasure, Jim. Thanks for the invitation.
Oh, yeah. You know, Dr. Pritham has founded a ministry that is one of the best ideas I have heard in a long time, and something that touches me personally. Dark to Light ministers to children whose parents are separated or divorced. Now, my parents were divorced when I was 11 years old, and it threw my little life into a tailspin. So this ministry, as I was talking to you about earlier, this ministry, it touches me personally. And can you tell me just a little bit about yourself? Tell us about yourself, and tell us a little bit about what Dark to Light Ministries is.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So I am a physician. I'm an internist and psychiatrist. And sadly, I went through the divorce process myself back in 2011 and 12, separation and divorce. And I have 3 kids. And shortly after the divorce, I was asking them, doing a check-in on my own kids and seeing how they were doing. And at that time, they expressed a desire to help other kids who were going through the process. So as part of a brainstorm, we kind of looked around to see if there were any organizations specifically targeting kids whose families are going through divorce. And we did not see any in Oregon. So it was kind of interesting then to be able to create our own nonprofit organization. And I learned a lot about nonprofits in the process of creating this with my kids. And we are targeting particularly kids in that 5 to 13 age group. Jim, you mentioned you were 11 when divorce hit your family, and we find that's a particularly sensitive group in terms of age group that may be a little more susceptible to the challenges of divorce. And divorce is hard at any age, but that tends to be a sweet spot. And intervening on kids at that point is kind of where we're focusing.
Now, well, very cool. Like I said, this is one of the best ideas I've heard in a long time, because I know personally, and I've seen in other people the devastation that this can do to kids. And, you know, I know divorce is something that we wish wouldn't happen, but sometimes it happens. And so when it happens, you know, what can we do for the children? That's the big question. So you started talking a little bit, your motivation was, well, your own divorce a little bit. Was that, I mean, how did that motivate you, or what were you seeing in your kids? I know you said your kids saw it, but what did you see that made you want to do something more?
Yeah. So, you know, emotionally, it's a challenging time when you go through a situation like that, and there's a lot of upheaval. Kids are dealing with, you know, 2 homes, perhaps, going back and forth. And so what we wanted to do is really focus on kind of peer support. Peer support works in mental health scenarios a lot. And so we thought about, hey, what about handwritten cards to kids who are going through the process to let them know they're not alone, for one thing. And then we started to brainstorm, well, what would it look like to have a care package put together? Now, mind you, we've started, and our pilot project was really in churches, because we also want to make sure that families are still connected to church in this process, because I think there's great power in healing in remaining connected to a church family. So we have partnered with churches largely to then have our care package and a handwritten note and some goodies, including a backpack to carry your clothes back and forth between households. We put a care package that we think will be meaningful to the kids based on feedback that we receive from whoever's referring a child to us. And then we work with the pastors and church congregation to then give the care package through the church pastors, and then have it be where the family is staying connected to their church family.
Wow, that's a great double-edged sword there, because what I have noticed about families that get divorced in the church is a lot of times they stop going to church.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. There's anger towards God, anger towards everything, and we don't want kids to feel anger. We want them to feel supported through the process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I have also watched parents that were now even embarrassed to come back to church
Yes, yes, and we
because
we need to be more welcoming in the church, Jim, about situations like that because we know that each divorce situation is unique and challenging, and it's I think behooves us to be as Christ-like as we can to people, and just check in on people and make sure they're doing okay.
yeah, that they definitely need special love when they're going
Mhm.
through all of that, and the children especially need special love. I well now, did your parents were your parents divorced or did they
No,
stay together?
no. I was the beneficiary of a wonderful two-parent household, and that's where sadly I wasn't able to give that to my own kids. So that's why I think I've been extremely passionate about trying to help kids who again may be the victims of difficulties their parents were had and not of their own choosing a situation is thrust upon them, and so that's why we're trying to mitigate that.
Yeah, yeah, that's yeah, because it's not their faults, and
No,
that's was the I remember it's funny because you and I have two opposing things here because fortunately I was able to keep my marriage together throughout the whole time, but I tell you we had our struggles and but for the grace of God go
sure.
I but as a child, as an 11-year-old child, I went through so many emotions during that period of time. I lost my trust in my parents.
Hmm.
And there was just a lot of things that happened that made me kind of rely on myself and pull away from the church. And if I'd only had somebody like that was doing that, that would have been, boy, what a benefit that could have been to my life. I spent 26 years away from God. Um, because I went to live with my dad, and then from there I walked away from the church, and boy, on and on and on it goes. But
Mhm.
so I really appreciate what you're doing because I think what you're doing could have made a huge difference in my life at the time and my brothers as well. Now,
Yeah, that's awesome.
I noticed that in your bio that it says that you interface in internal medicine with psychiatry, and that you're a teacher at OHSU. So, does your psychiatry or psychological training, how does that kind of fit into what you do?
Well, see, so I want to make one thing clear. It's not about me. This ministry is definitely not about me. It's really all about the kids, and it's actually kids helping kids. Just as
Okay,
adults, we're just going to facilitate, and so we may have a little more understanding of the psychopathology and things that happen to people during these challenging times. But really, it's a peer support, kid to kid kind of thing, where the correspondence and all of the handwritten notes and things come from other kids going through the divorce process to those other kids. And so what I help facilitate is really to help with sponsorships and get restaurant coupons, get people to support our ministry, and do the legwork on that's harder for a kid to do. But really, the focus is kid to kid support in with Dark to Light.
okay. So I noticed that I was going around on your website and I noticed that if I knew of somebody that needed help, a child whose parents were getting divorced or separated, that I could go on your website and I could click on it on one of the tabs up top and I can fill out the information. And then what would you do with that information?
Absolutely. So, yeah, there is a bar at the top of our website. So, our website is darktolightkids.org. DARK is an acronym that stands for Divorce Adjustment and Recovery for Kids. So, darktolight.org. And right at the top at the masthead, there's a referral form section. And if you click on that, it just allows you to put your name in because we want to make sure we can keep in contact with you because obviously children sometimes don't have their own email addresses and things like that. So we would prefer it be an adult, certainly, that kind of sponsors a kid. And oftentimes, what we see is grandparents will mention their grandkids, or concerned aunt or uncle will mention kids in their life, and then you just it go through each of the steps on the referral form and put things in of what the kid likes and dislikes, and we try to meet them where they are, and so if a kid doesn't like a stuffed animal, we don't want to stick a stuffed animal in their care package, for example.
Right.
um, and so, yeah, just there are all kinds of preferences and things, and we've had wonderful sponsors in this whole project. So, we like to tailor these care packs to the needs of the kids.
So the kids write the notes to the other children.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, okay. And but the pastors are the one that actually delivers the
Yes.
packages.
Yes, indeed. We want the staying connected to church and church family and to your pastor is so important. So that's why we've tried to facilitate it that way. And again, we're talking about churches of all walks of life. So we're of various denominations. We're happy to take people. We just would like people to be connected with a church home.
So what if I know a child that isn't connected to a church?
Yeah, and we're willing to work with that on a case by case basis. Again, this is a faith based ministry, and so the whole point is to not just take care of material well being, but we also want to take care of the child's spiritual well being, and that would involve being connected to a church maybe that their parents used to go to or their grandparents used to take them to, and we love to work with them to get them back in the fold, so to speak.
Uh-huh. So hey, what I'm doing, Dr. Raj, is I am planting a church up in Oregon City.
Mm-hmm.
And I am looking for a way to connect with my community. And as I was looking at this ministry, I was wondering, wow, is there a way? And I'm just throwing spaghetti against the wall here. I just want Hi, I'm just wondering if there's a way we could use this to connect to the community because there is so much pain out there. And I know as a pastor, I would be willing to go to a child whose parents are not part of my church family
Mm-hmm.
and just try to help that child out. I
Oh,
want
absolutely. We would love to do that. We'd love to partner with that. And again, we've been blessed with a lot of resources right now that aren't being utilized because of COVID. There's been a lot of shutdowns, and so we're not able to partner with our churches as easily as we could have. And frankly, with the slowdown in the economy and things during COVID, the court systems have also been experiencing delays. So we don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but divorces are not going through as expediently as maybe they were in the past, and maybe that's giving more pause for people to work through things. We would love to support a kid whose parents maybe were separated and then get back together. We'd love to be a part of that positive story.
Absolutely. Wouldn't that be the perfect case
Yeah,
scenario there?
absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, so if I have a church, if I'm a pastor of an Adventist church, if I'm a pastor of a Baptist or a Methodist or a Catholic or whatever church that is, what would I do to partner with you? How would I get a hold of you? And would I go on your website or how would I get a hold of you to make this partnership happen?
Yeah, the contact information is on our website, again, darktolightkids.org, and our email is there, and the referral form directly is there, so you can reach us through a number of easy ways. And we're always looking to partner with people, and we're happy to spread. We've in we've really tried to focus on Oregon as a state, but we've had cases in southwest and maybe southeast Washington as well. But we've had a couple of places from even outside of the Northwest that have reached out, and we've honored those requests, and we've helped kids in other states. But our focus primarily is in Oregon.
Okay. All right. Well, so hey, what can you tell me? I mean, do you have a story or two, maybe about a child that you've helped? I mean, no names, of course, but
Yeah.
some examples of some of the children that you've seen and what it's done for them.
Interestingly, what we try to do, Jim, in this is anonymize as much as of this as we can. Again, because it's not about us, it's about the kids. And really we try not to get too into people's business unless they ask for help in
Mm-hmm.
certain ways. And so what we've done is really plant the seed, and we've done follow-up surveys certainly to see if what our intentions are being fulfilled by our ministry, and we've definitely received a lot of positive feedback from families. But we also know that it's a very sensitive time, and sometimes families don't want to be contacted about certain things, and we want to give people the space to be where they are, but also an open invitation to contact us if additional resources are needed, and to give us some feedback on our work.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then so you talk about resources. What are some of the other resources a parent may have? Say I'm a parent right now, and unfortunately, there's just no way around it. I'm getting a divorce. There's nothing I can do about it.
Mhm.
I have a couple kids,
Yeah.
and they're 7 and 10. I mean, what do you know of any resources? Is there anything? What would you tell me if I was getting a divorce with a 7 and a 10-year-old right now? What would
Yeah.
you say to me?
The beautiful thing is we do have a lawyer on our board, and that lawyer has been instrumental in working with other partners that offer reduced rates or even free legal services if somebody needs that. We're working right now on mediation services and getting, a bunch of mediators to be lined up to help. But really, it depends on the need. We have a resources page on our website in case the child is struggling with mental health issues. We can't provide that as an organization ourselves, but we want to direct people to websites and phone numbers that could be helpful, and so we've listed a lot of those on our website as well.
Okay. Yeah, I just know that it would have been handy for my parents to go through a class of some kind to, for instance, tell them uh, not to badmouth each other in front of the kids. I mean, just some
Yeah.
very simple things like that that seems to happen during divorces that is really, really tough on kids. And
Absolutely, absolutely. And we've explored classes. Again, we're talking about a very personal, it often may work best on a one-to-one, like if somebody of our organization meets with a family individually, but we haven't gotten to that level yet.
mhm.
That's why
Okay.
we're relying on other mental health resources or other legal resources that we're partnering with.
Okay. All right. All right. So hey, so what are your future plans? Where are you going from here? What
Yeah, we're trying to expand to the entire state, and sometimes participating in camp meetings and things like that, where we have access to a lot of people from different parts of the state has been helpful. But we're also promoting our Make a Million project. Now, Jim, have you ever heard of Make a Million, the card game?
I have not heard of that.
Okay. Well, we're doing a fundraiser by using Make a Million. Make a Million was a Parker Brothers game that was actually created during the Great Depression. So, ironically, we're struggling with our economy right now. But the Great Depression back in the 1930s was when this game came out, and Make a Million kind of was left to dead by Parker Brothers. So we've revived the game and made it Make a Million Rupees to honor, as since your nonprofit helps people in India, we're honoring the world's largest or fastest growing democracy, the economy, and honoring India by calling it Make a Million Rupees. And so it's a card
Love
game
it.
that we're having people play and enjoy that, and that's also on our website that you can purchase Make a Million the card game, which the entire proceeds to that project goes to the kids that we serve for Dark to Light.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. That's nice. So in expanding into Oregon, you're trying to expand into different churches. And so let's say that I have gotten a hold of you. I am now a church because I mean I would like to do this for our church. We'll have to talk more about this later, but
Sure.
this Hills and Valleys church that we're planting in Oregon City, I would like to become part of Dark to Light Ministries. And so what would I do? Where do I start?
Oh, absolutely. We would love to come to your church and give you a presentation, and we'll show the video that's on our website. But I can talk through, like we're doing right now, ways that we can partner. And if you have, in the meantime, if there are kids that are coming up in the church whose families are going through the divorce process, we would love to partner and help those kids and partner with the staff at the church to make it happen. So we're doing that all over the state, and we have our brochures that go out, and we're trying to be very proactive with pastors in Oregon to make sure they know about our ministries and have our flyers and brochures handy in their church foyers and things of that nature.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. Well, we're definitely going to try to have to make that happen. I will connect with you after we get done with this whole podcast and everything, and we'll figure something out. Now, you talked about coming to a church and doing a presentation, but we're in the middle of COVID-19. I mean, how is this affecting what you're trying to do right now?
Yeah, no, it's been a challenge. We haven't had very many kids identified here recently because of the COVID. I can't think of actually any kids who have been referred to us since March. And we had a couple of speaking engagements that I had personally to do a sermon here and there, even during Easter weekend, which would have been a great outreach for our program. But we're in a different era. But if we have churches that are interested in doing a Zoom presentation with Dark to Light, I'd be very, very happy to do that and speak to the congregation and just talk about what we do, much like we're doing right now.
Oh, very good. Very good. And as we have talked about, you go to camp meetings in churches, and this is how you kind of get people involved in understanding what you're doing and raise money to help these children. This has all been shut down. And so it sounds like you wouldn't hurt to have some donations either.
Yeah, we're actually doing okay, much like your group is doing okay right now, Jim. We're hanging in there just because we haven't had a lot of expenditures right now during COVID, but we'd love to be able to use the money, and we'll never say no to donations. So we do have a donations page on the top. It's the third tab on our website, and so if you'd like to donate or even in-kind donations, we've received, for example, backpacks from the Adidas Corporation. And we're always happy to receive any type of support. The Blazers organization has been very generous in giving us swag for kids who are into basketball, and we know the playoffs are going on right now, so we'd love to help kids maintain their passions during a divorce time period in their life, because we know that during times of stress, that's when basic entertainment and basic enjoyments go out the window sometimes, Jim. And that's where we want to preserve that for these kids.
Yeah, I noticed on your website that you'd given away Blazer tickets possibly, and boy, you can't even do that right now. So
Yeah.
it is just a weird time we're in, and it's probably also a very stressful time for some families that were right on the edge too. So it'll be interesting to see how this comes out. As I think you were telling me before, some of the court systems have slowed down, so some of the divorces aren't getting through. But I just kind of wonder how some of the I know my wife and I have been cooped up for 4 months, but we're doing okay.
Yeah.
And I, like I said, but for the grace of God, go I with a divorce. But fortunately, I have a wife that will have put up with me for over 30 years. So, I mean,
Indeed. And we know that that's not always the case in
right?
that are experiencing strife, right? So,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh man. Well, Dr. Pritham, it has been so nice to talk to you, and I so appreciate what you're doing, because it's as soon as Bryce Pasco told me about the ministry that you had started, I was just like, wow, that is something that I can see that it could be of such value. So basically, what you need most right now is for people to recognize that there's kids out there that need help. Go on your website, put their names in there, and then let you do your thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'd be honored and delighted to have people put their kids' names or kids they know's names into our portal, and we'll take it from there.
So don't feel embarrassed to put your own kids' names in there.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We'd love that.
Okay, very good, very good. Well, thank you so much for coming in and talking with me for a few minutes here, and I just want to encourage everybody out there to go on Dark to Light Ministries, or give me that website again, because I
Sure.
didn't remember.
darktolightkids.org. So DARKTOLIGHTKIDS, darktolightkids.org. And again, DARK is an acronym for Divorce Adjustment and Recovery for Kids. And that's our website.
Very good. Very good. And if you are going through this as an adult that's been a child going through divorce, I just ask you to pray, and ask God how he can guide you best through this process. Because if you're an adult and you're listening to this and you're about ready to get a divorce and you have children, I just want to let you know those children are going to need extra love during this. So thank you, Dr. Pritham. I appreciate it very much. And everybody else, thank you very much. Thank you for listening, and we will talk to you again soon. Goodbye, and God bless.